This is the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
They can mock us, they can call us names, they can make things up, but they can't stop us.
Today we take a look at Governor Palin continuing to deliver her message to Tea Partiers. On Labor Day, she paid a visit to New Hampshire and revved up supporters with a hard-hitting speech. Also today we'll hear from Mr. Benyamin Korn, the man behind Jewish Americans for Sarah Palin, an independent group dedicated to promoting consideration of Governor Palin's political positions in the American Jewish community. Well, Sarah Palin is still mum on her 2012 plans, but she kept the door for a presidential run wide open when she addressed Tea Party members in New Hampshire on Labor Day. And she said the Tea Party needs to expand.
I believe that all who are sincere in the effort to reform our government and restore our country, you're welcome here. And it's time now to grow the Tea Party movement.
Governor Palin praised Republican presidential candidates for working harder to appeal to the Tea Party movement, saying those in the movement have awakened America.
And we needed that awakening because we're up against now Barack Obama's very strange, fundamental transformation of the country that we so love. And it is a strange transformation that he would attempt. We don't need a transformation. As you know, we need a fundamental restoration of all that is good and strong and free in America.
And after asking what is Obama's plan, the governor provided her take.
The answer is to make government bigger, to take more of your money and give it to more special interests, and to give you more orders from Washington, and to reduce the strength of America in a dangerous world.
Along with blasting the media, Palin credited the Tea Party for the 2010 election results and for recent developments in Washington.
It was the Tea Party movement that shifted the entire fiscal debate in Washington, D.C. And now we're seeing more and more folks realize the strength of this grassroots movement, and they're wanting to be involved. I say right on, better late than never, for some of these candidates especially, okay?
Palin told the crowd they have truth and logic on their side, and now a record of success to boot. She encouraged them to stay strong.
You've already withstood the wrath and the disdain and the lies from the media and the permanent political class looking down on us, mocking us, making things up about us, telling us to go to hell. You've already withstood that.
And Palin laid out specifics of what has to happen next.
America needs an agenda that attracts industry here instead of continuing to chase industry off our shores. An agenda that doesn't pretend that a centralized government can successfully manipulate and plan our economy for us.
The governor obviously continues to draw large crowds of supporters. She told the folks in the Granite State that they, in turn, keep her going.
You're ready, you're willing to fight for what is right about America. I thank you for that. Again, that is what inspires me. It inspires the rest of the country as we see what is going on in this Tea Party movement.
She did stop short of announcing her 2012 intentions, but she left the podium on a high note.
It is our duty to honor those who have sacrificed all yesterday so that we can be here today, free and proud and strong Americans.
When the crowd chanted, "Run, Sarah, run," she thanked them and expressed her appreciation. Those supporters are hoping an announcement that she is indeed running will come soon. Now, one group that has historically voted Democrat in this country, Jewish Americans. And while no one is expecting that to be any different in 2012, could the GOP make a dent and at least garner more support than usual? And will it depend on the candidate? What about Sarah Palin, who's been very pro-Israel in her positions, to say the least? We will examine that and much more right now with Benyamin Korn, who joins us on SarahNet Radio today. Mr. Korn runs Jewish Americans for Sarah Palin. You can check it out at JewsForSarah.com. Benyamin Korn, welcome to the program.
Great to be with you, Kevin. Thanks.
Now, let me start by simply asking this. Why Sarah Palin? You know, as we mentioned, Republicans have been less than successful with the Jewish vote, and the more conservative the candidate, the support has seemed to be even worse. So tell us why you think Governor Palin is exactly who Jewish Americans should be supporting.
Well, it depends what the political season is. It is true that American Jews tend to vote heavily liberal and Democratic in an ordinary political season, but this is no ordinary political season. Don't forget that when Ronald Reagan ran against Jimmy Carter, 60% of Carter's Jewish support abandoned him to vote for the most conservative political candidate of our era. So it would not be unprecedented. In fact, if past is any prologue to the future, it looks like the perfect storm is forming again to alienate Jewish support from Barack Obama and from the Democrats going into the 2012 election cycle.
What about the Israel factor? Are you surprised that so many Jews seem to vote Democrat when it seems the candidates today that they're voting for don't have Israel's best interests in mind?
Well, first of all, you have to look at how the priorities of the American Jewish community break down. It is true in ordinary times, maybe a third of Jewish voters will vote based on their perception of a candidate's performance, allegiance, whatever it is, to supporting Israel. But when times are stressful and Israel seems to be embattled and under threat, as is the case now, and when there seems to be an administration in Washington, from the point of view of perceptions at least, which at best is ambivalent and at worst is hostile, then you're headed for a different political season, and that's what I think we're looking at now.
Now, I don't think a miracle will take place where we see a complete reversal in 2012, but could the candidate that eventually takes on President Obama grab more of the Jewish vote than usual, and do you think Palin is the strongest potential candidate to make a serious dent?
Well, the first part of your question is, I'm definitely saying that I think a majority of American Jewish voters could vote against the president in the upcoming electoral cycle. Now, the question of whom would attract the Jewish vote, on the other side. The conventional wisdom is that in order to win over independents and Democrats, you have to triangulate towards the center. You have to have a Republican candidate who's going, at least in the general election, to be perceived as centrist, and so on and so forth. I would say two things regarding this. In the first case, that's not necessarily true. It could be that we are in a political season where simply the candidate who really seems to stand for the best solutions for the country will attract independents and even Democratic voters. But there's another dimension of this as well, and we're beginning to see this in the appeal of Sarah Palin and the type of campaign that, or non-campaign that she appears to be running. When she says that she's not, simply running as a conservative, but is somebody who is running against the problem that we have, in her words, a compromised political class who are incapable of addressing the pressing problems of the country, but that this is a problem that an election can fix. She may attract a lot of people from the other side of the fence with that kind of rhetoric, excuse me, and be able to break out of this box that she's been shoved into, that she's some kind of a far-right candidate. That is not how she governed when she was governor of Alaska. She worked with Democrats all the time, and of course that's why she had an 88% approval rating when John McCain picked her for his running mate.
Tell me, whether we're talking about an election or not, just in general, why is Sarah Palin the right fit for those who follow Judaism?
Well, there are many reasons that Palin speaks to values conservative people of all types. So the Jewish community is broken up into subgroups and tendencies and different political factions and all of this. No community of Jews is too small to have so many different competing factions. But the truth of the matter is, first of all, that a solid one-third of American Jews, and that's a growing number, that's a number that grows every year, a percentage that increases all of the time. A solid one-third are values conservatives, because you're talking about the Orthodox community, and then you're talking about others who may not be Orthodox, but lean that way in terms of their values. Then there's, of course, the Israel connection. I don't like to trot that out first because, as I said, first of all, not all Jews vote according to their Israel preferences. Many, are simply concerned with other things and relate to things basically as most Americans do, that, Israel may be important, but so many other things are at the top of their agenda. And right now, for everyone, that would be the economy. A third reason, particularly for Jewish voters, is Governor Palin's platform of energy independence. Energy independence means not only jump-starting the American economy, but getting America off of dependence on foreign oil, and that means putting a halt to the largest transfer of wealth in history, which is the transfer of American treasure to the Middle East oil-producing states, simply because our own energy industry here has been held up by government regulation.
And Benyamin, how can folks get involved with your group?
Well, JewsForSarah.com is the website. That's F-O-R in the middle, Jews for Sarah, not the number 4. And we have, it's a pretty rockin' website. We've got in the neighborhood of 8,000 to 10,000 visitors a month. We have mailing lists. If you are in the Philadelphia area in particular, we do Jewish Independent Talk Radio, which is up on the Salem Radio affiliate every Sunday. And there's just a lot going on as we move into this political season.
All right, Benyamin Korn, thank you, sir. Let's do this again, okay?
Kevin, that's great. Thanks for having me on.
It'll be very interesting to see what voters do this time around. One would think anyone concerned with Israel's well-being would be apt to vote against Obama, but we shall see. Please check out JewsForSarah.com. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. Be sure to visit SarahNet.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin, our radio show, plus plenty of articles from yours truly and our SarahNet contributors. Also, follow us on Twitter at SarahNet Radio. I want to thank everyone here at SarahNet Radio. Thanks to Benyamin Korn. And thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.